The 2024 NFL Draft is finally here. It's taking place tonight in Detroit, Michigan, the home of the Detroit Lions, a team who had a really good run in the playoffs, won their first playoff game this year in a long time, and now the draft is in Detroit, and this is a very good draft. To me, this is one of the best drafts, especially at the top in the last 5+ years, maybe even the last decade at that. The amount of offensive talent, elite offensive talent that is at the top of this draft is just phenomenal. And in this, I really have it in this draft as a top 12 of teams that are going to look to trade up and make big moves. And then from there, from 13 to the end of the draft, I view it as that's kind of where the draft will be a little bit normal, per se. So I want to give my predictions, my mock draft for the top 12 picks here in the NFL draft, 13 that is, including the Las Vegas Raiders. So starting off with the Bears at number 1, this is an easy pick. It has to be Caleb Williams. It's been Caleb Williams all along. Since last year when he had his amazing Heisman season, he has been viewed as a franchise changing and has that real legit superstar potential. Every single year the draft doesn't have this. Last year in the draft we had Bryce Young, who he's still an up and coming good young player. He's not Caleb Williams, and I don't think we've seen someone like Caleb Williams in a long time. Trevor Lawrence was really hyped up. It's not just recency bias as it may seem. I still view Caleb Williams as that guy that really can not just be a good quarterback, not just be a great quarterback, but be a guy that can take the Bears places they haven't been in so many years. The Bears have been a bottom feeder in the NFL. They've been up and down. They have had some playoff success in the last decade a little bit, but then the past couple years have been really brutal. They drafted Justin Fields, top 5 a couple years ago. That didn't work. They traded him to the Steelers a couple months ago, and now they're in a position where they really can add this offseason and at this draft a guy that can put them on the map for real and have them really, for the first time in the last 2 decades. I know they had Jay Cutler. He wasn't a star, but have their first real superstar for the Bears. I think that's this guy. Caleb Williams, even though people talk a lot about what he didn't do this past year, he still was phenomenal. Over 3,600 yards passing, 30 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Also really good on the feet. He only is listed at 6'1", but he feels like he's bigger than that when he's on the field. He's only a little over 21 years old, so you're getting a young player. There are older players we'll get into in this draft with Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr., but this guy is the real deal. He really has that Hall of Fame potential. Not every guy has that, as we've seen, but this guy really has it all. He's not the one knock. He's not 6'4", 6'5", but he still has an electric big arm, can make any throw on the field without a doubt, can beat you on the feet, and people have compared him to Mahomes. I don't love when people compare young players to greats and guys that have already done it because it's just putting a lot of pressure, but Caleb Williams has put that pressure on himself. He has put that standard to a level that he expects to win multiple Super Bowls. He said he doesn't just want to win one. He said he wants to win more than Brady, I heard him say before months ago. So that's really great, an ambitious, great young talent. But moving down the draft, number 2 with the Commanders, there's been so many talks. Is it Jalen Daniels? Is it Drake May? I'm going to go with the wild card here. These are my not my predictions of what I necessarily think will happen. there'll be some of that, but more of who I would take if I'm in that team's position. So if I was the Commanders GM and I was in charge of Washington right now, the guy that I would take is not the guys that I mentioned, not Drake May, not Jalen Daniels, although those guys are good. I would take J.J. McCarthy, the guy who had a perfect college career, 27-0. I know in the regular season, I know they did lose to TCU last year in the college football playoff, but this year beat Bama in the Rose Bowl, the semifinal, and then won the big one, won the national championship against Washington, which was great. And J.J. McCarthy, a lot of people view him as a game manager, as a guy that is only going to manage the game and isn't really going to beat you necessarily, but I view this entirely different. I do think that J.J. McCarthy can be that guy when given the chance. We've seen the last 2 years when he was a starter at Michigan, when the game's on the line, there's no one you want more to have the ball than J.J. McCarthy down the line. I always remember telling myself, he always makes the right play when it matters. He always gets the job done. That's J.J. McCarthy for you. He's a winner. He doesn't have the biggest arm. He's not the quickest guy. He's not the best athlete. But what he does have over guys like Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels and Drake May is college success at the highest level, winning a national championship this past year. He's also 6'3", same age as Caleb Williams, 21. And I really think that he's not a traditional Caleb Williams where a franchise-changing guy. I think it'll take more pieces around J.J. McCarthy to get the job done, but I think if a team invests in building a great team and unit around J.J. McCarthy, I really think that he could be a guy that could win a Super Bowl or two. I really do. He's such a smart player, one of the smartest I've seen the last couple years, and yeah, he just seems like a great character guy, a great guy you want to lead your locker room. And so that's what I would do with the number 2 pick. If it was up to me, I would take J.J. McCarthy if I was Washington. Moving down to number 3, though, the New England Patriots, they've been looking for their starters since Brady left a couple years ago. Mac Jones, that experiment's over. If I was the Patriots, I would take Jaden Daniels here. I think it's just a no-brainer. If he's here, it doesn't seem like he will fall to this pick because of all the hype that's been on him recently. It seems like he's probably going to go maybe number 2, even at Washington. But if he's there for number 3, great fit for the Patriots. He's a very tough-nosed, hard-working player. And it's just really great to see his progression. He is an older player, 23 years old, but I remember watching him when he was back at Arizona State as a freshman, and I just remember how raw he looked. He did have promise. Every time I watched him when he played Arizona, my alma mater, I could recognize that guy had a lot of talent, but he just couldn't, it wasn't being pulled out of him yet, per se. But I think now when he went to LSU, he went to learn under Brian Kelly, a great coach at LSU. He really opened up as a player, and you really saw how much of a playmaker, how exciting that guy is. He won the Heisman this past year. He's another kind of dual-threat quarterback, a guy that's like a Lamar Jackson or an RG3, but I actually think that he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson out of college. Lamar Jackson won the Heisman mainly because of his amazing running ability. Yeah, he did have some great touchdowns as a thrower, but he really was dominant as a runner. Jaden Daniels has done a lot of both, and he's had a lot of 4, 5, 6 touchdown throwing games, let alone rushing games. I think he does a little bit of everything. 40 passing touchdowns, almost 4,000 yards throughout the air this past year at LSU. And yeah, I was really impressed with him. He had 2 great receivers, no doubt, with him, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas with him. But yeah, I really like Jaden Daniels. He's my 3rd best quarterback. Some people have him too. I think there is a chance he could be the best quarterback out of this class. This class is that deep, that great. But yeah, I think it's a no-brainer with the Patriots. They don't have a lot there, to be honest. New coach, as we know, with Gerard Mayo. So I think it's a great start by drafting a guy like Jaden Daniels because of the ability and what he brings as a leader to a football team. But number 4 is my favorite fit and pick for a team is Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals adding an elite receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr., to the fray this year. I think he's a top 3 prospect to me in the entire draft, not just at his position. Yeah, there's been some talks, is Malik Neighbors a better prospect than him? I don't think so. Marvin Harrison has it all. 6'4", 205, 21 years old, the son of a legend in Marvin Harrison, as we know. He was just excellent this past year. Over 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. And he did all that with and while having a pretty average quarterback to me. I just don't think the quarterback play was that great for Arizona, or for Ohio State, that is, this year. But even though whenever he got the ball, he made the most of it. He's such a game changer and just game-breaking speed and physicality, and he's just an elite athlete. This is everything you want in a big receiver. Reminds me of Justin Jefferson a little bit. And yeah, I think he's the best receiver to come out since Jamar Chase and Jefferson 2 years ago, or 3 years ago at this point. So yeah, I really love Marvin Harrison. I think he's the clear-cut best receiver in this class without a doubt. It's not to be up for debate. I really like that fit with Kyler Murray as he's getting his feet back under him after suffering a big injury. But moving down, number 5 is J.J. McCarthy's head coach, and that's Jim Harbaugh, making his first draft pick as the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. And in this one, I was thinking about a receiver. Maybe a Malik Neighbors could be possible here, but I like the idea of doing what Jim Harbaugh likes to do, building from the trenches, adding Joe Alt, a really just dominant tackle from Notre Dame, 6'9", 320 pounds. This is the type of guy you want to protect Justin Herbert, is building an elite line. Yeah, maybe they add a receiver or two later in the draft, but Joe Alt is the pick here. Would be a great fit for the Chargers. I know they're missing receivers. The multiple great ones leave this past year, but I like the idea of building with the line because some people forget, but the line is really, really important. I think some people forget that at times, but I think that's where they need to go right here. But moving down, number 6, the Giants. Will they take a quarterback? Will they not? I think the clear pick here has to be that the Giants take the best receiver that they've had since they drafted Odell about 10 years ago at this point in Malik Neighbors, the teammate of Jaden Daniels. 6 foot, 200 receiver, 20 years old, was unbelievable. Almost won the award for the best receiver in college football this past year. Lost by 1 vote to Marvin Harrison Jr., but he had over 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, 89 catches. This guy is amazing. The next great LSU receiver, along with, as I mentioned, Jefferson and Chase and those guys a couple years ago. This guy is amazing. I really think he's going to be one of the best receivers in the game. He's like Harrison. He's a really elite athlete, and he's really a hard worker and a guy that really can just beat the defender, get the ball whenever he wants, it seems like at times. The difference is between him and Harrison 4 inches on him. I think that's the difference. But even at 6 foot, I think Malik Neighbors is so quick, so fast. I believe he ran a 4.4 at the combine. This is a guy I want to build my offense around 100%. But moving down to number 7, for me, the Tennessee Titans, this was another kind of up in the air pick about what they're going to do. But if it was up to me, I know maybe a lineman, but if Joe Alt is gone, there's not a guy really there that I think it's too far. I do think the Titans could trade this pick maybe if they don't get what they want, if that is. But I think J.C. Latham, the defensive tackle from Alabama, was really good this past year. 6'6", 340 pounds, and I really think that this is a great pick for the Titans to build out that line and to build a good defense that'll support Will Levis moving forward and their young coach as they look to build a team here in the future. I think that's a good pick for them at number 7. But number 8 is a guy that I really like, my favorite defensive player pretty much of this draft, and that's Dallas Turner, the edge rusher from Alabama. This guy, 10 sacks this past year. He was just unbelievable, really quick, really physical. He just gets to the hole, gets to the quarterback really, really fast. I think this guy is going to be a Pro Bowler, really quick in the NFL. I think that's what you need after signing Kirk Cousins to a long-term deal. Focus on the defense now. Build the defense up. They have a couple pieces, but I'd like to see a little bit more help. But number 9 is another great receiver. I've gone back and forth if he's even the second best receiver ahead of Neighbors, but that's Rome Odunze. I think pairing him up with Caleb Williams on the Bears is a great, great pairing. I know they have Keenan Allen. I know they have DJ Moore on the Bears already. Keenan Allen only has 1 year left. This guy, Rome Odunze, a younger player, only 21 years old, can be a guy that Caleb Williams can build with throughout his career, along with DJ Moore, who's only in his mid-20s, I believe. But, yeah, Rome Odunze, also a top 3 receiver or better this college football season. This guy was just unbelievable this season. 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, no-brainer pick for me here. But number 10, Brock Bowers to the Jets. This is a great, great pick to me because Brock Bowers will provide Aaron Rodgers with a great safety blanket and elite tight end that provides quickness, physicality, and a guy that can really just change this whole offense. But the next 3 picks, 11, 12, and 13, I have 3 quarterbacks going here. 11, I have Drake May. I'm not going with any trades. I'm just going how the board is. I don't love Drake May. He underperformed in his couple years in college at UNC. Has a big arm, a little Zach Wilson to me. I don't love guys from non-major schools, per se. Number 12, I have Michael Penix, who I think is great, has overcome a lot of adversity. I really like Michael Penix this year. I really think he could be a top 3 quarterback of this class, was a top couple finalists for the Heisman. So I really like that a lot. And number 13, the Raiders, picking Bo Nix. I know this is a little early, but Bo Nix really did it all in college. The guy was a real elite playmaker while he was at Auburn, while he was at Oregon. I really like that pick to round it all out. I think there's going to be 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 13 picks. May seem like a lot, but I think that's how it's going to go. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and we'll see how many of these picks I got right.